gets easier. So the program we just played for you, we recorded on a CD, and we're touring it all over Eastern Canada. So now we know it, so we don't have to practice too much. So we actually only did 15 minutes this morning, right? Yeah. Don't tell our teachers, though.
Oui. Yes. The violin, did you have one before that one?
I did, yes. I did. That's a good question. I've actually gone through several violins. So I first had a little baby-size violin, then it got bigger to a half-size, then a 3/4, and now I play on a full-size. I played on a violin that used to belong to my mother because she's a violin teacher, and now I have a violin actually lent to me by a foundation in Quebec called Canimex, and they're actually taking care of the costs of our tour. So old instruments, very nice old violins, are sometimes too expensive for the musicians who play them. So we're very lucky to have foundations in Canada, like the Conseil des Arts du Canada, les Québécois, les Lettres, Conseil des Lettres, who give a lot of support to artists like myself and Isabelle.
Yeah, so. But we could not buy a violin like this.
We couldn't. Une autre question là?
Oui, c'est quoi?
How long ago did you start performing?
Oh, well, 10 years ago, actually. Yeah, we met, we were students at McGill University when we started our bachelor. So we met in Montreal and we started playing chamber music 10 years ago already.
We were 17 when we first started playing together.
Very young. Younger. Other questions?
Do you listen to some other music than classic, or and what kind of other music?
That's a good question. So my father and some of my background is from Argentina, so I quite like certain South American music, Spanish music, and I listen to that sometimes. Sometimes I work with world musicians, so I played with an instrument called the tabla. It's like a drum, and it makes all kinds of cool rhythms. I've also worked with a sitar player. It's a very long instrument with many, many strings. So I quite enjoy listening to world music and music from India, and actually we play some of that music. So not everything we play is actually classical, although the large bulk of it is. Yeah. I think one more question there.
Do you write any music?
Oh.
So, I don't feel like I'm a good enough of a composer, so I don't publish any music, but sometimes I write cadenzas. So I play a piece of music and then I have to improvise a little bit at the end, so I'll write that, but I'm not very talented. It takes me a long time. I'm not very good at that. It's pretty similar, quite similar. Yeah, they're different instruments. I would say the guitar is a kind of more accessible, a little bit easier than the violin, and a great instrument because you can kind of bring it all over the place with you. It's less fragile. It's a great instrument to play, and it is quite similar. One more over there. It does. It doesn't actually hurt me, but it leaves a mark. So I have a dark spot here, and that's from playing a lot. That's just from the skin being rubbed, and it kind of discolors it, but it doesn't hurt. I think you asked a question already, so I'm going to go to the back.
My grandfather plays the violin sometimes.
Does he? That's great.
How about you? Do you play your grandfather's violin?
No, but I do play a bit of guitar.
That's great.
Do you guys play any other instruments in piano and violin?
No. It was hard. So do you remember I was telling you about Lili Boulanger? She was the first piece we played and the last piece. She actually played 6 instruments. She was so talented. In her 20s, she was playing the organ, the piano, the violin, the cello, the harp. She was a singer as well. She was very talented. But for us, we can barely master one, so we're focusing.
We focus on our instrument.
Une autre question en arrière?
Moi, j'ai commencé des cours de piano à 8 ans, mais je viens d'une famille de musiciens. Donc, j'ai commencé à chanter puis à jouer de la flûte avec très, très jeune. Mais les cours de piano, j'ai commencé à 8 ans.
She does play other instruments.
Hein?
Elle joue la flûte avec et
Oui, mais là, j'en fais plus maintenant. Quand j'étais toute petite. Toi, Yolanda, tu as commencé à quel âge?
J'ai commencé à l'âge de 5 ou 6 ans aussi. Et j'ai commencé avec le violon et je jouais aussi un peu du piano, mais pas du tout comme Isabelle, alors j'ai arrêté. J'ai une sœur, une plus jeune sœur qui joue le violoncelle. Et souvent, on joue en duo ensemble, alors on aime vraiment ça. Alors,
My grandfather does guitar concerts sometimes, and he also plays the banjo.
see, he's a real musician.
He's a
He
Lili
can play.
Boulanger.
He's a Lili
Like Lili
Boulanger.
Boulanger, he plays many instruments.
Over there? We do not say no.
Not
No.
in concert.
Not in
In
the
the
shower, yes. Yeah.
How much practice did it take you to know all the songs and how to play them?
So,
Well, a lot, but this particular project for the tour and for the CD as well, we started last spring. So it's almost been a year now that we started working on all this music. Yeah. And what about you? Do you have a question?
Me, my dad, he used to play in a band when he was small. Well, not when he was small, but like when
Like our age.
when he was in his teens.
Okay.
When he was a teenager, and now he stopped. But my mom, she plays in the band. In the summer, she goes on the cruise ships and stuff,
Wow.
and she sings and she does concerts here. And it's called the Moon Matinée.
Les moules marinières.
I'm gonna check that out.
Cool. Yeah,
My dad already played it.
He made a disc?
Really?
Oh my goodness. He might be our competition. I'm kidding. Next time we'll invite him to the concert. We should play with him.
Oui, une dernière question ici.
While performing a show in other countries or other places, do you ever forget a part?
Oh, that would be.
There are many stories like this. So sometimes, we added some things onto the program today that we're not playing tonight. So I had a panic yesterday because I realized I left that music in Montreal. So I went to the hotel lobby and I said, can you print it? Because I had it on my computer. But sometimes you don't have it on your computer and you have to play from memory. So sometimes that's scary. Or I've had it in concert where I left one page out at home, but I didn't check before starting the concert. So I turn the page and the next one's not there. So then, you kind of just don't panic, try to remember. Sometimes I walk over to Isabelle's part because she has the music too, so I read from her part. So yes, there are all kinds of fun stories about music going missing. And one more over here.
So, do you guys live in Montreal?
We
like
do.
Right now?
Yeah, we both live in Montreal.
Okay, we'll do one last one and then we might wrap up.
Do you live together?
Well, Yolanda is a lot over at my place because we rehearse a lot together. But we don't live in the same building, but we live close to each other.
20 minutes.
Yeah, in the same neighborhood, so we can walk to each other's place. Yeah.
Thank you.